Maraming salamat, casters. The pressure of Week 8 starts today at ang kapalaran ng apat na kupunan na maglalaban ngayong araw ay nakasalalay sa kanilang mga kamay. Ang unang serye natin ay sa pagitan ng Blacklist International versus BREN Esports. With unahin natin ang BREN Esports with actually having 28 points belonging to their name. So, with me right now is Brent, a super fan of BREN Esports, of course without the T, to present us kung ano nga ba yung mga kailangan nila. So, come over and present it kung ano yung kailangan ng BREN Esports. So, here are some of the situations na kailangan nilang pagdaanan. Una, for BREN Esports, if they get to win 2-0, ang ibig sabihin nito ay masesecure na nila ang upper bracket spot for their team. At hindi lang yun, dahil makukuha din nila ang first seed for themselves. So, ang kailangan ko lang dito is, syempre, since somewhat lecture to, I want you to know if naiintindihan mo ba yung nakalagay dito, since alam ko naman na kanina mo pa binabasa to. So, paano pag nakuha ng BREN ng 2-0?
Syempre, matik, upper bracket secured sila. Pero hindi lang yun pwede nila makuha yung top 1 seed kasi malakas sila. Babalik natin yung BREN lang malakas. Haters gonna hate.
There we have it. 2-0 is going to be the best case scenario para sa BREN Esports if they get the victory via a sweep. Pero kung sakali naman na BREN Esports gets a 2-1 gaya ng nakalagay dito, they will still manage to get the upper bracket spot dahil nakuha nila ang 2 puntos para sa kanilang kupunan. But again, it doesn't stop there. Dahil 2 ang matches na natitira para sa kupunan ng BREN Esports, they will either need to win 1 match sa susunod nilang serye, which will be happening in the next days, or kailangan matalo ng ECHO ng isang match lamang para ma-secure na nila ang first seed at makuha din nila ang advantage na talagang matagal na nilang hinihintay. Because from further information na naibigay sa atin ni Kuya Bok from a while ago, nasabi niya na ang BREN Esports, every single time that they have the priority picks or priority sides available for them, napapanalo nila ang 80% ng kanilang mga laban. So, what if 2-1 happens for the side of BREN Esports? Wait lang. Sige, ulitin natin. Ngayon, since gamay mo yung 2-0 what if 2-1 naman ngayon ang nangyayari para sa BREN?
Pag natuwa nila yung blacklist, upper secured lang sila.
Alright. Okay ka na doon.
Pero pag nanalo po sila sa Onyx, ayun, top 1 po sila.
And there we have it. A+ ka for today, Brent. Maraming salamat. Let's move over to the side of Blacklist International because here with me is from Blacklist Academy, Ayon na, grabe no, pogi ng tagahawa ko ng whiteboard. Naparami ng possibilities na mangyari for the side of Blacklist International. Una, if Blacklist secures a sweep for today, then that means na masisecure na nila ang third seed for their team. And hindi lang yun, magkakaroon din sila ng pagkakataon to actually secure the first seed kung sakali na masweep naman nila ng 2-0 ang kanilang mga kalaban. And ECHO also gets to lose 0 or 1 game lamang kumpara sa kanilang mga susunod na kalaban, and BREN will also lose 0-2 sa kanilang mga susunod na laban. So ayon, given this, since galing ka naman sa academy, you're a very well-known student, ano ang kailangan ng, ano ibig sabihin pag Blacklist secures 2-0?
Pag naka 2-0 sila, secured na nila yung third place.
Right, there we have it.
Slot pala.
Yeah, third place is really of the essence here for them. This time, kapag Blacklist naman, makasecure sila ng 2-1, they're still gonna be securing third seed. So, the first one here is makukuha nila yung third, although the only possibility for them to go the highest position is second lamang. Kasi yung pinakamataas na posible nilang maabot if they get a split win is going to be 28 points na lang kumpara doon sa susunod nila na matchup. So, with this, BREN will get an upper bracket spot dahil pagkatapos ng 2-1, makakakuha sila ng 29 points from which 28 points nga sila ngayon before this matchup. And Blacklist will get the maximum of 28 since nakuha naman nila yung split. So, ngayon, nagamay mo din yung 2-0 kanina. What if Blacklist secures 2-1? Okay lang. Alam mo, malalaman niya din yan later on because again, for this time around, for both of the teams, ang unang beses na kailangan nilang gawin is to secure the upper bracket. And again, possibility pa rin yun para sa kanilang mga koponan dahil mahalaga na makuha nila ang victory for both of the teams. So again, just a major recap for everybody else. BREN Esports, if they get the sweep, for today, etsak mabibigyan na tayo ng pagkapanalo because they will not only secure their very own upper bracket spot, pero dahil dito ay makukuha din nila ang first seed advantage. And ano nga ba ang nilalaman ng first seed advantage? Alam mo ba? Alam mo ba? Now, for first seed advantage, you will absolutely get to have yung priority ng sides. So, sila yung pipili kung anong side yung gusto nila. Mapa blue side or red side for all of the matches. Specifically for the odd ones, the 1, 3, and 5. Kung sakali na makapasok naman sila later on. Meanwhile, if makuha nga nila ulit yung 2-1 na nakita natin kanina, they will still technically secure an upper bracket spot dahil nakuha naman nila yung win in terms of the series. And finally, for the rest of the members of Blacklist International, 2-0 to keep the first seed hope alive and 2-1 to secure the third spot. This is Blacklist International versus BREN Esports. Casters, back to you.
So we got a live class from Professor Sona, not in the backstage, but in the front stage.
Fresh
with
grad,
students there.
Fresh grad prof.
Yeah, fresh grad prof. Yeah, he is a fresh grad professor. A very young, it's actually Sona. There's a revelation for you all. By the way, more on the point system, going to the playoffs and stuff, along with the top seed being able to choose between 5 and 6, top 3 and 4 that they're going to be facing up against. Top 3 actually also gets to choose between their opponents of seed 5 and seed 6. Now, if it's still relatively unclear at this point, as the week goes on, we will be discussing it more because it will be fluctuating often depending on the results of the games. To put things simply, starting things first off with Blacklist International versus BREN Esports, if BREN Esports secures a 2-0 here, that's it. Their upper bracket and first seed secured. However, if it's a 2-1 victory for BREN, they are upper bracket secured but not top seed. There is still a chance for either ECHO or Blacklist to chase them. Now, there's still a lot of computations there. It's the part of the regular season where we second guess ourselves.
Yeah.
We've gone through this so many times.
Don't worry, don't worry. I tried the computation myself. I ended up meeting Doctor Strange.
Okay.
There's so many universes to go to. There's so many possibilities to look at. And after that, I just gave up. And I said to myself, hell of it. I just want to enjoy the game.
Yeah, and I'm sure we will. It's going to be a fun one. BREN versus Blacklist International. In the start of the season, of course, it was still Owl there. So now it was still Super Red, but now it's Owl. So it's a different Black that BREN has to face. So a lot of things to talk about. Let's talk about the entrance of the teams now.
Throughout the season, these bees did nothing but prove anew their age-old battle cry of BREN lang malakas. Will this still be true against the Code Breakers? Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for BREN Esports!
No, Doobie.
The Code Breakers' ever-evolving Ube notched them a 4-match winning streak. Can they extend it to 5 and bolster their upper bracket chances. They are the reigning champions of the MPL Philippines, Blacklist International! And their coaches, Coach Master the Basics and Coach Ducky. History, influence, prestige, 2 storied franchises, 1 goal. First seed.
And they are up on our screens right now. BREN Esports, Super Marco, Kyle Teasy, Flap Teasy, Few, and Ogwent.
Yep, this is BREN Esports, the current top seed of the regular season. The Giants up against Blacklist International. And you know what's crazy? Even amongst the players of BREN Esports, we have Giants on their side. Super Marco currently holds 4 titles in the achievements leaderboard. Highest GPM, highest kills, and there's so much things to look forward to for BREN Esports. And you also have Ogwin, that was overshadowed last season. Now he is stepping up as one of the highest assist leaders here in the current league. And BREN Esports, again, they just gelled together. They have this fantastic understanding of how to play around momentum in the early game and translate that and convert that into objectives.
Here for Blacklist International, Wise, Edward, Yue, Oh My Venus, and shining ever since his addition to the lineup, out in the gold lane.
Again, Blacklist International, time and time again, they proved that they are the meta shapers, and we've seen that a lot during the season. There are changes in terms of the meta, but at the same time, they were able to adapt, and look at that. The kill participation for the players are really on point. The 84% for you and even for Oh My Venus, it goes to show that for the rotation of Blacklist International, they're really prioritizing that leadership from OM Venus and the damage from Yue. And it is a type of lineup we're in. The moment Al was part of the lineup, they were more aggressive, and at the same time, there's a difference on how they really play and how they really execute their performance.
Yeah, as we look at the team head-to-head, however, we've talked a lot about Edward, but Midnight, we're gonna have to talk about the Flap effect.
Yeah.
At one point, Flap, the brightest rookie, became a champion, world champion in his rookie season. Then he fell off. But since MPL Philippines Season 10, he's had a resurgence, and baby, Flap is back.
I know, I gotta admit, Flap TZ, he's had an underwhelming Season 10. Season 11 came in, and he came into play to prove to everybody that this is still Flap TZ. Even though at some point he dropped the TZ title, he was still capable of showing up in games. And right now, I'm seeing a more fundamental approach from the X-Plane, and this is why BREN Esports' game is much better compared to the last season.
Yeah, and if you go back to the matchup of BREN Esports and Blacklist International earlier in the season, that was actually one of the clinchers as to why Blacklist had a difficult time against BREN because of the Flap effect. He was able to keep Edward contained and even got past Edward in terms of map presence. Flap's feeling it this season.
Yeah, actually, it's also a good thing that they were able to meet up early this season, because we could see now the changes from Edward's playstyle as compared to Flap TZ, and we've seen a lot of the heroes now being used on MPL Season 11, and one of those heroes is Arlott. So we might see a matchup with Arlott and sustain heroes from Edward. And I'm just really looking forward, because if you change the type of hero that you are supposed to play, if you go sustain or if you go damage, it means that there's going to be a different dynamic for our teams.
What are going to be the dynamics of these two teams? Let's talk about it in the Infinix Keys to Victory with the analyst over in the Filipino broadcast.
Very important match for Blacklist International. Kailan nila sweep. Para naman sa BREN Esports, also very important because they want to secure the top spot. So ano nga ba yung kailangan ng dalawang teams na ito na gawin? Ito yung keys to victory brought to us by Infinix. For BREN Esports, the cheese picks are working. Try being cheesier. This time, alam natin na ang Blacklist International, magaling silang mag-download. Yung BREN Esports, for the longest time din sinasabi natin sila yung mag-download game. But after all of the sweeps, nakita natin mula sa BREN Esports, parte dyan yung mga cheese picks na nakikita natin. For example, yung mga Nathan, yung mga Edith pick nila, eventually na makikita natin, kailangan mas maging creative sila going up against Blacklist International. Dahil surely, ang Blacklist ay magaling mag-aral ng kanilang mga opponents. This could also be true in this game. Para sa Blacklist International, Ube your way into the upper bracket. Tanggalin lang yung experience pero pares pa rin newbie. Yan ang common sa Blacklist International for many times in their championship runs. But this time, para ma-secure nila yun, they have to resolve back to their comfort ways. Maging mas creative. Ngayon, dumadami na rin yung mga picks katulad ng Flory na biglang pwedeng gamitin ng Blacklist International. So hindi na talaga maubusan ng heroes dito si Oh My Venus. For both teams, beware of flanking XP laners. At yung kailangang abangan. Maganda yung mga macro gameplay ng dalawang XP laners natin at dyan sila nag-excel. This is what they should be looking at. Tignan palagi yung mapa, markahan ko na sa next plane. Yan ang kailangan ng gawin ng dalawang teams natin. Those are the keys to victory brought to us by Infinix.
Thank you so much, Wolf, not only for delivering the keys to victory as well as you always do, but looking cute while doing it. Let's talk about the keys to victory. Thank you for that awkward silence. I thought I'd get a laugh there. That will now just be, that might just be clipped. Thank you.
Yep.
Let's talk about the keys to victory. We were just talking about Edward versus Flap. Midnight, beware of flanking XP laners as the main condition for both. Is Flap, Edward, and their matchup really going to be determining this game a lot?
Yeah, I feel like that's going to come into a big factor here with Blacklist and BREN, because movement is going to become detrimental to getting early game tempo and momentum for both sides. And usually it comes from the XP lane, because first turtle, what dictates whoever gets the control of the turtle is whoever clears the XP lane much faster compared to the other side, because you are able to participate in the fight and you are able to zone out the enemy jungler. That is why XP laners is crucial when it comes to taking objectives, and we all know that Edward loves shoving wave as soon as possible.
Yeah, ube your way into the upper bracket. That is the key to victory for Blacklist International. And on your screens, you're seeing, gonna know my Venus. And I know they're going to be a focus as well in this matchup. I mean, look, both of them have epic Lolita performances all throughout. Chantel, is Ube really going to be the main strat here for Blacklist? Or will they have to think twice about pulling that off because BREN will be ready for it?
Well, definitely for Blacklist International, they really go for the OB. It has been in their identity. They haven't changed since then, since they introduced this strategy. And at the same time, there might be a contest with the Lolita pick. We saw that earlier, having Ogwen and the Oh My Venus matchup earlier.
Yeah, and you know what's crazy? I'm gonna rack up a lot of haters here, but Ogwen surpasses Oh My Venus in every category. Hero pool, stats, KDA, assists, team fight presence. I mean, Oh My Venus, of course, is definitely more part of team fights, of Blacklist team fight participation, but Ogwen's conversion has been more phenomenal for BREN Esports.
So it's really more on the battle of leadership in terms of decision making. We've all known that Ogwen is a star player for BREN Esports, and at the same time, Ove Venus is a type of leader that brings in the team whenever they are needed for the team fight. So with Ogwen that has a lot of potential from BREN Esports, he has to be prepared mentally against the Queen.
If ever, if ever something comes wrong for Blacklist International, this is something that they have that BREN does not have on Ogwen. It's the Queen's shot call. You know, if the Queen gets sees something and she calls for it, usually it nets Blacklist AW.
Yeah, it's those shot calls that for normies such as us, we're thinking, are they really going to pull off that play? And then they do, because it's Blacklist International and Oh My Venus. But I'm going to add a counter to that as well, a BREN point of view to that. Ogwen might not be the shot caller for BREN as Oh My Venus is to Blacklist. But who does BREN have? It's few. A veteran and a legend in its own right as we enter the draft. In the previous matchup between these, in the previous meeting, 1-1 was given twice. Let's see if that's going to happen again. Let's see if times will change. Let's see what will happen in the draft.
I believe for 1-1, we won't really see that because we have a strong marksman here for both of our teams. Maybe the Arlot, we've mentioned that earlier. Is there going to be a contest? I'm really looking forward for that Arlot ban. Correct me if I'm wrong, Midnight, with what I'm feeling.
I'm pretty sure if BREN Esports does not ban Arlot, Blacklist gets the first pick hit. But again, it does come to a point where if BREN lets go of both Arlot and 1-1, if you're Blacklist, what do you get? I mean, Owl is a stellar marksman player, but you want... Okay, never mind.
Okay, it's going to be 1-1.
So, Arlot should be up for contention, but here's the problem. Fredrin and Arlot is still up on the table. If none of them removes it, you suddenly open up the option of getting both the Faramis and Valentina to either side. And now for Blacklist International, if your first pick it's it's a big nuisance because you don't get to dictate how this draft goes because BREN Esports, no matter what, they're gonna get 2 power picks.
Yeah, and I've also noticed a trend for teams going up against Blacklist International and if they're on the red side. If Estes is open here, what will happen is BREN might actually pick the Lolita as one of their first 2 picks on the red
Ooh,
side.
I like
and
it.
then the Estes ends up on the hands of Blacklist International as second and third pick. So just a tendency I've been noticing so far. And even in the last matches, by the way, these 2 teams coming from victories. Blacklist International 2-1 against Onyx and 2-0 versus RSG.
Hot streak.
And BREN Esports 2-0 against RSG as well. So both teams looking very hot. With the bans on the board, Valentina is not going to be a factor here.
Yeah.
So this is what it feels like to be in between two of the best analysts.
I mean, you are an analyst too. So.
That's what I feel like. Oh, that's coming from the first ever winner of the best Filipino caster. And the first one to do it as an analyst. That was you last season.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Ooh, Arlott. Okay, Arlott ban warrants a Fredden pick or a Faramis because Valentina is out. You just choose between 2.
Ooh,
They go for the Lapu-Lapu. Okay.
is this the first time that the Blacklist International is to pick Lapu-Lapu on their
Yeah.
first pick? Because
It
we
is.
usually see Fredrin,
Yeah.
more on the jungle heroes or maybe a hero for all. So this is very interesting for
Yeah.
Blacklist International. And Lapu-Lapu is a type of hero that when we say mobility is not really on a high standard, maybe more on the clearing of minion wave and AoE damage.
Yeah.
And I think I get why they're taking away the Lapu-Lapu. They don't want to go up against the
Yep.
Flapu-Flapu.
This is anti-flap. This is Blacklist draft trying to completely negate the presence of the Flapu-Lapu. And I like the answer. They go for Fredder and Eve because you know that Blacklist is not going to pick up the Claude. So for Blacklist, they don't have the Eve option anymore for UED. They don't have the Valentina. Next best thing is Savior. That's the only remaining hero
Or
for
Farsa.
For UED. Or Farsa.
Yeah.
And you can also pick up the Melissa, but both are they're not inherently bad against Fredden and Eve, but they suffer during the fights because if you let go of the Fredden airstrike and you have the Melissa, you're susceptible to being closed out with the reload manipulation of the Eve, and then the Fredrin comes into play because he can play around those areas wherein he can just commit a lot of crowd controls over the side of Blacklist. So they go for the Farsa and Estes. Now you get Claude for Supermarker, one of the best Claude players on the side of BREN Esports.
This is actually a nice pick for Blacklist International. They really want to go in par with this AoE damage from Farsa and Eve. So we've mentioned earlier, we've asked if they are to go for the Ube strategy. So here's the answer. They want to go in again for this Estes. Maybe another hero that has sustained for the jungle.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. Since Blacklist International didn't really go for Freddy, we might see a different hero for Wise.
Oh.
Call me
As a
crazy,
jungle.
Lapu Jungle. It's a thing.
Really?
Yeah, it's a thing.
Have you guys seen it?
Why is it a thing, you know?
Yeah.
Why is it? I mean, I've tried Lapu Jungle. Feels awesome because you don't need to build up any damage because Lapu just deals so much damage, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, we
of
forgot
course.
about Sunny.
Of course, Kyle TZ, he picks up because here's the thing, BREN Esports, they are willing to play Fredrin Jungle,
Yeah.
but when they saw Lapu Farsa Estes, no crowd control whatsoever, you automatically get Fanny. And if Blacklist is not banned out the Claude, they still are able to get Claude on first pick, second phase. And you don't have any answers to that because the only limited options that you have, it's going to come from both the gold lane and jungle. Jungle is now being controlled by BREN Esports. The only remaining counter against Fanny is Akai. That's why it gets removed out. So this is phenomenal drafting, world-class drafting, I would say, from Coach Duck and Coach BREN.
Yeah, man, your Lapu jungle suggestion is looking more and more like a possibility here. Because what else is available on the table? I mean, the Alice is going to feel too slow in my point of view.
Especially against Alice. No.
You can't do that. And then
Against a Fanny.
it's a Fanny you're up against, a Lapu. I get it. You also get that the crowd control avoidance when you bring out the bravest fighter, so it makes sense.
I would say, okay, respect for the Baksha ban. I would say you remove, you get Petrify heroes for Blacklist International. That is if they are going for the Lapu jungle. If not, I think Barats is still an option for Blacklist International because you don't play the CC fight against BREN Esports, you play the sustained game.
Yep.
And it's hard for BREN Esports to burst down its barrats. It's because of the fact that Estes is here, and if you focus too much resources on the barrats, you also have to deal with the Lapu-Lapu.
Yeah, that's actually true. And the usual combo for Blacklist International having Estes are those type of heroes. So Barretts could be one. And why do I feel like for Blacklist International, it's a good idea for them to actually take Moskov if they're up against a Fanny.
For the Goldaner, yeah.
Yeah, and it's a nice option for them. So could be one, but it's gonna be carry ban here for BREN. So
it's a Moscow pick.
Yeah.
yeah, so they're really going towards that sustained type of hero for Wise. And by the way, Blacklist International, we haven't seen this before, but there's an option for them also to do that tank slot type of play.
Oh, bring
Baby.
out Wise's Season 4 performance capability on the Assassins, but put it on tank.
I like this.
It's Wise signature.
I like it. It's like we're writing fan fiction, but it makes a lot of sense.
Because it has a lot of reference.
Yeah, we have a lot of references backed up by numbers. Like everything we've said, like everything, all the options that we've posited here make
There's
a lot of sense
footnotes
to
on
me.
the back.
Yeah, the Moskov
Claude.
sounds great.
Oh, I like this, Brody.
BREN
Okay.
goes Brody. I really thought they'd end up going Claude, but I think they want to go for a tighter formation.
Yeah.
But doesn't this put a lot of pressure onto Flap Teasy? Because most of the time he'll be the one diving, maybe even alone.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you think about how you want to fight against a Fredrin, you'd naturally group up, and you're suspects to the torn apart memory coming out from the Brody. And the one thing that I like about Brody is there are 3 marksmen in the game that can deal with the Lapu-Lapu. It's the Claude, it's the carry, and it's also the Brody. And I feel like this is the reason why they picked it up on the side of BREN. Now, Blacklist, do you go Barats or Guinevere for Wise? That is the question.
Right,
Because
the Gwyn.
I feel like Beatrix is a likely pick for Blacklist International, even though you'd want the Moskov, but Moskov he doesn't just do anything against the Brody. So I feel like Beatrix is a more of a option here for Blacklist. So they did go for the Beatrix and Barats, but I am concerned because Diggy is on the table for BREN Esports.
And we all know that BREN Esports has been using a Digi for Ogwen, so it is a type of a hero that could really negate that only crowd control, I believe, for Blacklist International.
No Detona's welcome.
No Detona's welcome. Maybe a counter as well for the bravest fighter here coming in from Edward. And for BREN, they really want to have that space for the Brody having this Fanny on their lineup, knowing that the playstyle of Kaltizi is a type of jungler wherein if there's a possibility to go later than the others for a team fight, Fanny is the best option for them.
Are we gonna get it? Will we
Diggy.
hear a hoot hoot? Is it the owl?
Give me the
We
hoot
heard it. There it is.
Oh,
Oh,
no,
it's
no.
not. Oh,
It's
was
a-
that you?
Yeah, that was me.
I really thought that was it.
So it sounds like Diggy.
Yeah, Midnight, you sound like Diggy. You got me there. But it is going to be a Lolita for Ogwen.
Yeah.
The possibility that we did bring up even before the draft started. So, in a way, we did get to see the things that we thought would happen
Yeah,
beforehand.
it's a much safer pick, I would say, because it is already a counter against Barats, and it also is capable of dealing with the Estes. But my main concern is if Blacklist just decides to run over them, and if they get enough of a momentum on the early game, I feel like BREN Esports' lineup, they just crumble to the pressure that Blacklist has, especially with Ube in minute 4, minute 5.
And when we say Ube, yes, the natural counter is that Num Num Blast coming in from the Lolita, but it has to be perfect with the timing. And we all know that Purifies can be a headache with those type of AoE crowd control. So timing is a battle here and is a factor for both of our teams coming to this game.
Good to see the heroes back. Feels like I haven't done this in such a long time. At some point in the game, a poll will show up. You only have until the timer runs out to comment your prediction with the hashtag #SmartPowersMPLS11. Get a good look at the ruins of an area of the Land of Dawn and the heroes posited, the possibilities brought up, the potential, a 4 to 5 minute early game Ube. Now, the question I'm going to ask here is, does BREN Esports have enough counter punish when they go up against Blacklist and Blacklist brings out the heals?
Yeah, again, that's the main concern, especially when they picked up the Lolita. You want to be able to fight into Blacklist International, but you don't have enough power in terms of stopping them. Because your main worry is that if this Lolita and Fanny combination does not work in the early game, you're still susceptible to being ran over by Blacklist International. That's why the Digi pick sounded much Well, I called Lolita a safer pick. Now that I think about it, I think Diggy was safer because you do get that counter initiation with the Time's Journey. You get the shields from it, and you also have the capability of just completely negating the slows coming out from the Barats and the Estes. But with the Lolita, it does give them late game power in terms of initiation if this does go to late game. Because BREN Esports, although you are seeing a Fanny and Brody, it's a much scarier lineup compared to Blacklist late game because the only thing that they need to do is snipe out the Beatrix.
Yeah, that's actually true. And for the side of Blacklist International, knowing that they have the SS, I believe that having this type of hero on their lineup makes them more aggressive. Knowing that in terms of the late game, yes, there is the roam boots for the Estes, but once it is activated, the level 4, I mean, that ultimate, it is a type of Blacklist International that they are just really ready for the team fight. And the thing is, now that we have seen changes in the meta, we could see rotations on the XP lane, so even the initiation on those rotation is going to be crucial for both of our lineups, especially for BREN Esports, because you want to hide that Numinum Blast from Ogwen. You need that frontliner for it to be effective.
Yeah, there's a lot of worries for the roam on the side of BREN Esports. It's not an easy Lolita game. Quick side note though, Brody is the tallest hero in MLBB.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, in the drafting, he's huge.
Yeah, he's huge. He even dwarfs Fredrin.
He's taller than Fred. He's Brody.
He's Brody.
Because he's broad.
Yeah.
And he's tall.
I like it.
He's broad and tall.
I like it.
Oh yeah, again, this is going to be a game wherein they're really fighting for the upper bracket seed, or maybe the top seed here in our playoffs, and the leadership for our captains, and at the same time, how they will really play against each other.
You hear the fans in the background. Welcome to Friday night fight night here in MPL Philippines. Midnight. What are the conditions early on for both teams?
Well, for BREN Esports, again, they have to make this Lolita work. They have to make Blacklist bleed on the early parts of the game when they are not capable of fighting yet. Come minute 3, minute 4, that's the time where you feel Blacklist's strength. So again, make use of the combination that you have in the middle lane, harass with the with the Eve and the Fanny, and make sure that you get enough resources and get the first objective of the game to limit Blacklist momentum in the mid game.
Yeah, that is indeed true, and we could see a slow start actually for our teams. Even the Visioners are just positioning themselves on the brushes, and we don't really see this come into week 5. So a more stable game for both our teams.
Yeah, taking things nice and easy, slow and steady.
Oh!
Flat there, a little bit of a micro just getting it.
But in the top lane, that is going to be a first blood. For Kyle TZ of BREN Esports, there's going to be a delay on that Blessing of the Moon Goddess from Oh My V.
Yep. This is the strength of a Fanny, especially with, I mean, against a lineup that has no crowd control. He can just, move around the map.
Yeah, and now, a few seconds before the turtle spawns there, it's up. He's going to get it. Katizi going in. Ooh, hero focus.
We see Kyle TZ, Mitona's welcome from Wise, and it's going to be cancelled here. But we can see right now the players of BREN Esports zoning out the players of Blacklist International. Voice will disengage because he is already low on life, and first turtle most probably will go to BREN Esports as Blacklist International. We just move out, but we will see Edward with the rest of the players, and first turtle will go to BREN Esports.
He cannot contest that.
Yeah, it'll be way too difficult. I mean, I probably would have contested it, but that's why I'm still stuck in Epic.
Well, I do love the the understanding coming down from Kyle TZ. He knows that he is a Fanny. There's no way in hell, even in the land of dawn, that he can be caught out by the Tonos Welcome. So when he saw Wise there, he was like, okay, I'm gonna try and take down this dinosaur. No crowd control, cannot eat me. I can just fly away.
It's a lot easier for Kyle TZ during that moment, but right now for BREN Esports, they are on the lead in terms of gold, and this is the usual Blacklist play, when we see this Barats and Estes, they're just really waiting for the perfect moment. But again, on the top lane, that is gonna be a kill by Super Marco against Owl.
Such a crucial kill as well, level 5 on the Brody, and it hurts because you have Stain on the Barats, but Beatrix is solely your damage dealer in the mid game. Even though you have a Lapu Lapu, he's gonna play backline later on, and this Beatrix is the core element to how Blacklist can be able to play in the mid game. So that kill suppresses again Blacklist's capability for the mid game spike.
Yeah, slow and steady are still are these two teams right now very calculated in terms of where they're going to get their pickoffs. Calteezy finding Wise.
Ooh, look at that damage from Calteezy. Again, Calteezy is as if a bird that is just looking for those players from Blacklist International, giving information as well for his teammates. And look at that, almost a K goal lead for a BREN Esports as the turtle will spawn in 15-second time.
Yeah, but if you're a BREN Esports, you're not going to be happy with that, especially Kyle Teasy. He just tried and taken down the dinosaur. He didn't have enough damage, and you also have to worry about the SS later on. So I think BREN Esports, they know for a fact that Blacklist spike is going to happen soon. And again, this is going to become a problem. If you cannot take down the Barats, he will just provide massive frontline defense for Blacklist.
Yeah, fighting in the turtle. First build Radiant Armor already up for Wise.
Turtle life is already low, but we will see Calteezy from the back. Oh my goodness, it's a target.
Oh!
But the turtle will go to few. BREN Esports will secure that. Look at the sustain for Blacklist International. Oh my goodness, it's down. The cables are there. They are everywhere. And another kill for BREN as the goal lead is now 2.5k.
Cables are there everywhere, plus some damage to boot. BREN Esports, that's a big victory. And I think Blacklist International knew what might happen midnight because Owl already went for that bottom lane switch, and Flap still getting that crab coin.
Yeah, again, the plays coming out from Flap Teasy, he is negating the presence of the heroes on the side of Blacklist International because of the crowd controls that he has, especially with the energy eruption. But again, yeah, as you've mentioned, Blacklist, they knew that they cannot compete against BREN Esports at the moment. That's why they place the Beatrix on the bottom lane. This is where they excel at, you know, resource management, resource control, and they know where they are weak, they know where they are strong, and mid game is what they're looking at, and they're trying their best to get there to the, to get to that point, and they know that the Beatrix needs to get to that point. So they put Owl, on the bottom lane, sacrifice the turtle, but they try to do it anyway because you have to address this at some point. You know, you have to compete with BREN.
Yeah, and actually for BREN Esports, we could see the shift from being really aggressive to now a team that is waiting for the perfect moment to actually be on that place or that position to go up against Blacklist International in this formation. They're really aware. Look at the respect actually with the formation of Blacklist here at the bottom lane.
Yeah, it's like BREN knows where Blacklist want to go.
Oh! In an instant, that is the cutthroat for Calteezy. And here comes BREN Esports, but retaliation is there for Blacklist International. Yue with the kill. Ogwen is going to be the target. Flicker out for Ogwen, and the rest of BREN Esports is dealing damage. Look at those stacks from Super Margo. Torn apart memory, not enough damage. Flicker in for Flapteezy. And there is going to be the Appraiser's Wrath. Another kill for BREN Esports.
That was super smooth coming out from Flapteezy. Flicker in, energy eruption, and then Appraiser's Wrath. Oh my Venus was not willing to commit the heal.
That was genius. The flicker into the taunt. My goodness. We talked about the flap factor that BREN Esports has, and he comes up big. The Blacklist are still contesting.
Kyle.
Again, from the back, Owl is going to be the target, while the rest of BREN Esports and Blacklist International is fighting for this turtle objective. Who's going to win this? Here comes the real world manipulation. But it's Yue, but the retribution battle is going to be on the hands of Calteezy. Kill spree for Super Marco.
Oh, the flicker in!
The flicker again. Aggression play for BREN Esports. Another kill. 3 players down from Blacklist International.
This is how you know a team is in the lead. They are calculated with forward flickers midnight.
You know, there's no pressure with BREN Esports. They know for a fact that they need to win. They need to capitalize on the momentum that they have. And again, as you mentioned, those flickers are very, very important because if you manage to shut down the timing of Blacklist International, you have this window wherein you can just continuously play because you out-damage the sustain that Blacklist has. You don't have to worry about the mistakes that you can commit as long as you're choosing the right targets and Flapteezy controlling the right heroes. BREN Esports can just continuously man-fight against Blacklist.
Oh, okay. BREN Esports still in the lead, still dominating. And you can clearly see how much homework they did as Edward will be forced back. BREN Esports eyes set. Getting that top turret though. Here comes Wise going forward.
That is an eye set from Wise. It's going to be the better extract from Yue. There is the damage. A player's down for BREN Esports where the rest of the players are trying to fight for their lives.
Oh, it's Kyle.
Again, the cable man. Kyle Teasy with the damage. 3 players down.
Oh
Actually 4 from Blacklist.
They did not see that at all. I mean, from the cross map, he came from the middle lane and he was able to catch up towards that fight on the top lane. And sustain, again, is not a problem at the moment because they just have so much damage on the side of BREN Esports, especially with Super Marco having the Blade of Heptasis. He is able to output so much physical damage onto the frontline targets. And even if Blacklist tries to run, Fanny can just, you know, chase them into their base.
Yes, actually, moments before that kill from Kaltiz, he was actually securing his buff. So look at the displacement and mobility of this hero. Now Blacklist International, we're waiting for the mid-game sustain coming from the team. But look at that, BREN Esports will start this Lord objective, and there's going to be no contest from Blacklist. It's going to be critical for them if they have the forces. Take note that they have the minion wave clearing. Put it down, Nubi Blast from Ogwen. They want to go against Twice, but Kaltiz will secure the Lord. We can see again Kaltiz to be part of the team fight, dealing damage against the players of Blacklist International. They're forced to back away. Again, a flicker from Blacklist. And a godlike for Super Marco. The space, the initiation, the implementation, it's just there for BREN Esports.
Dude, the trio of BREN Esports, Few, Ogwen, and Flapteasy, they're just shutting Wise completely down. Few with the Void Crystals, Ogwen forcing out the Tonos welcome with the Numenon Blast, and Wise, he had no choice. And Flapteasy, he does not care if he dies at all. He just wants to fight. He wants to frontline for BREN Esports because he knows that there's so many follow-ups that will be coming out from both Ogwen and Few, especially with Super Marco and Kaltiz dealing the damage. So this playstyle from BREN Esports is shutting down the frontline defense of Blacklist.
Oh, it feels like I'm watching M4 all over again, and how Echo shut down Wise in the grand finals. BREN Esports, it's like they remembered that series and said, hey, I think we can do that again. Oh, under the tower.
Speaking of doing it again, here comes the Blast. Catches not.
Again, Flapteasy.
But on the top lane, another secure. Wise is down. Take another player from Blacklist. It's going to be Edward. You can see BREN Esports just diving. And Kaltiz is still alive as the Lord will march in here at the bottom lane. But look at the discipline of BREN Esports. After that objective, they just go away, they just back away and back to what we're doing.
Yeah, and they needed to be disciplined there. They didn't take down the mid tower just yet. It was a good call. What else did BREN do right there, Midnight?
Well, Flapteasy again, not caring about his own life. Standing in front of the towers of Blacklist International, just making sure that nobody goes outside. And Blacklist, when they went inside their base, Kaltiz went for the chase. He was able to get one kill inside the own home of the agents, and this is where you start feeling that there is already no hope because resource management, it's no longer possible for Blacklist International. Flapteasy is making sure that nobody leaves the base.
Yeah, actually, even for Blacklist International, again, we've mentioned about crowd control here, and there's no really stopping against Kaltiz. Speaking of, he comes from the back. Look at that. BREN Esports, again, you will use that real world manipulation as the middle lane is going to be destroyed for BREN Esports. Another turret down, and Flapteasy now has the blade armor.
Yeah, very, very critical item because Blacklist International, the only way you shred through the HP of Flapteasy is through the damage output coming out from Owl. And he can no longer do that because the damage will also be reflected and he is susceptible to dying against Stefani. And one thing that I want to harp on about the playstyle of BREN Esports, they're overcommitting on the Barats. And this is something that you don't see every day, fully committing on a hero. But guess what? Barats does not have Purify. They don't have any save mechanism aside from the heal. What they can do is use all their resources to control the Barats on the front line so that Kaltiz does not have to worry about any form of saves on Owl. So this is just BREN Esports saying to Blacklist, pull everything towards the Barats and leave your backline with no safety precautions. And Kaltiz is just abusing that window that he has where he can just shut down anybody on the side of Blacklist.
And look at that, another free lord here for BREN Esports. No major objectives taken yet by Blacklist International. 17-2. The keyword here is commitment. They knew their assignments going into this series. And BREN Esports just committed everything that they studied and executed it to near perfection. Now on the cusp of getting game number 1.
Yeah, indeed. We could see the lead right
Kyle
now.
again!
Again, the damage of Kaltiz is against a hero that is supposed to be more on the sustain side, but almost already more than half of the HP. So this is going to be deadly here for Blacklist International. They need those fortress. They need that fortress, rather. They need that sustain as much as possible. And they really have to look forward on the entry of Kaltiz.
Yeah.
The Lord is here on the middle lane. This might be it for BREN Esports. We're still waiting for that initiation play. But you
Kyle.
see right now, Wise is already low on life. Reward manipulation for Pew. And
Oh,
Flappy
Flap!
again with that aggressive
Ogwen!
Predator play. And Ogwen on the backside. Killing spree for Flappy. Here comes the bait and the tower lock for the side of BREN. 1-0.
Spearheaded by the CEO of TZ Entertainment, the Flap Factor coming in big. It wasn't just Flap, that was the entirety of BREN Esports in near God mode against Blacklist International.
Yeah, for BREN Esports, this is a type of team that doesn't really doubt on using those flickers just to initiate. If I am playing, I use flicker to escape. But for BREN Esports, they're using it to initiate.
Yeah.
If you've watched BREN week 1 to week 6, and it felt like they're strong, this game is different. BREN looked unstoppable against Blacklist International, and it's really crazy how they commit their skills without any form of hesitation. Blacklist does not get it at all. Like, they don't understand what's happening, and they cannot react to that.
Yeah, one of the most impressive BREN Esports individual game performance I'm sure all of us have seen this season. What else stood out for you there, Chantel, in terms of like, man, how did BREN Esports pull this off?
Well, one thing is how Flap TZ really played. It's as if he's the tank of BREN Esports, and at the same time how they focus fire on a specific hero.
Yeah.
We could see the purpose of all the heroes that they chose. They chose during this game, even the Fanny, having Fredrin as their XP lane. It's really more on how they really drafted this game, and at the same time how they're able to implement that type of hero composition.
Yeah, and it seems like the adjustment as well in the draft for BREN
Yeah.
worked out well. That
Definitely.
swerve where that Fredrin went into the XP lane, and again, we talked about the Flap factor, what happened in their first meetup earlier in the season, where Flap actually got to shut down or match Edward. This game, undeniable, Flap just shut down the presence of Edward.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't expect this from Flap TZ, even though we've seen them, we've seen him come up with better plays, but this is definitely Flap TZ.
Yeah.
With world class.
Oh my goodness. We didn't get Flapu, but we did see world-class Flap back in action. You saw that right. That was BREN dominating against Blacklist International. Now I'm sure there's a lot more that Midnight over there can dissect from this game. So Midnight, talk more through it.
Well, there are definitely a lot more that happened in this game, but I want to say that there's a lot of confidence coming out from BREN Esports' gameplay, and the commitment that they've showed in this game was phenomenal. Blacklist International, when I said earlier that they don't get it, it's because of the fact that you don't see this every day. You don't see BREN Esports fully committing on a target without having to worry about the punishment and the mistakes that they will commit. And that is BREN Esports' core gameplay this game. They did not let Blacklist International think about how they can approach this game. They just went with it. They kept on jumping in. They kept controlling heroes on the side of Blacklist, and they didn't have any time to react to that at all because there's just so many things happening in this game. So many crowd controls as well from the lineup of the of BREN Esports, especially with Flap TZ leading the charge. A lot of crowd controls went on the front line against Wise, and Wise was not able to do anything because he was already up against a Fredrin. He was also dealing with the presence of the Lolita, with the Numenon Blast, and of course the jumps and the reload manipulation box that he has to play in. Now, Blacklist International, the answer that they've tried to go with was to protect the Barats on the front line. But one thing is for certain, BREN Esports was definitely targeting the back line. Yes, if they manage to take out the Barats, that's good. But Kyle TZ and Super Marco's mission and goal in life is to punish the back line. Ogwen and Flap TZ was in charge on the front line with the support coming out from Few with the amount of slows that they had, but the damage was overwhelming as well from Super Marco. So even if they don't die the backline on the side of BREN Esports, they don't care at all because Kyle TZ will always be able to finish the job after the front line has been completely negated. And that was the main problem of Blacklist International. Wise was not able to stand his ground against the immense damage coming out from this Brody, and Super Marco was well farmed off. He was sitting at 969 GPM by the end of the game, was able to get a lot of gold going on for him and get the damage output that they needed. But the man of the hour is Fanny on Kyle TZ. Yes, you heard that right. Fanny on Kyle TZ, 807. What a beautiful performance coming out from the jungler of BREN Esports. Again, the mindset of playing into the Barats really came into play here. He knows that he cannot be taken down, he cannot be controlled, so he just kept going in. He kept going in, going out, and Blacklist International, they had no answers against Stefani, and he was able to abuse that for the majority of this game because, again, there's no crowd control on the side of Blacklist International. The plan was simple. You can prod and poke on the early game. Come the late game, your main target are the backline heroes. That was the reason why Al was not able to play in this game for Blacklist. The Beatrix was completely shut down, and from the very first few minutes, CalTZ already knew his advantage. He went towards the top lane, got a kill, and even poked the Barats on the first turtle take. Now, in this specific Lord fight, this is where you saw the Flap TZ effect, the flicker in with the energy eruption, and a lot of outplays going on for the side of BREN Esports. CalTZ was jumping from miles away. He was not in the vision of Blacklist International. That's why the agents were completely surprised. There you go, Flap TZ with the flicker initiation, and Oh My Venus did not expect the damage output at all. He was bursted down from half HP to 0. That's how powerful the Fredon is if he has full stacks, and of course enough damage taken, absorbed, and that is converted into damage. Now, BREN Esports, they were again continuously fully committing on the Barats, so that when Blacklist International tries to re-engage and support Wise on the front line, there's no longer any form of support on the back line. That was the sole reason why CalTZ was able to have this amazing access towards Owl, and also the reason why Blacklist cannot fight at all, because their sole damage dealer is not present on the majority of these fights, and that was the that was the catalyst for BREN Esports' success on game number 1. Again, no answers whatsoever from the side of Blacklist International against the main hero of this game, which was the Fanny of CalTZ.
Man, that felt like a statement game.
Yeah.
Like, BREN Esports knows what they could get if they get a 2-0 victory here. And it looks like they're not playing around. They're just like, we want that upper bracket. We want that top seed.
Definitely a statement. But I believe for Blacklist International, now that we're coming to game number 2, there could be adjustment. A natural counter most likely for having a Fanny as an enemy hero. They should really be aggressive on trying to negate that Fanny of a buff as much as possible.
Oh, yeah. Buff negation, but it seemed like, again, you posited that potential solution. Seems like BREN Esports are like one step ahead of the game now in terms of like what they gotta do, their in-game rotations. We didn't get to discuss Few a lot in that series, but then in that game, but Few's rotations as well, very timely with pressuring Wise in the jungle alongside Flap TZ. BREN Esports, man, they wildin' right now. And speaking of wildin', let's go on over to the awesome crowd here in Shooting Gallery Studios with our very lovely Marakino.
We're here with VVIP, very, very important people. Nandito si Trike, the one and only. Look, Haji is here, and Uncle Eson. Kamusta kayong lahat? Let's start with Trike. It's your first time visiting this season. What's special about today? Dahil ba top seed BREN ang kalaban?
Siguro for me, syempre marami kaming mga shuffles na ginawa during the season, and when it comes to the lineup, may mga bagong mga dumating. So for me personally, alam ko rin kasi yung pressure na bit-bit ko pag manonood ako. So hindi muna ako nanood ng mga unang mga weeks just to make sure na okay na muna yung composure ng team. And I feel like having yung win streak na meron kami, this is the perfect time to assess kung playoff ready na ba talaga yung Blacklist.
At nakita mo yung first game, sabi mo nga, composure. What's happening? Kinakabahan ka ba ngayon?
Hindi naman. I think we've been through this multiple times.
That's right.
And what really matters for us is full form kami coming to the playoffs. Siguro itong, kung makuha mo na naman namin yung upper bracket, it's a bonus. Pero pinaka-important is yung form talaga ng team.
Meron kang binanggit, bonus. Okay, how do you keep your team motivated para sa championship? Kasi alam ko, inside scoop, last season, may pinramis ka sa kanilang very luxurious phone. So, yung incentives mo sa kanila for this season, can you give us like an inside scoop?
I think for us naman, we're really doing our best to reward our players, especially when it comes to winning. Pero siguro, etong specific season na to, hindi namin sinet yung tone that way because we understand that going into the season, katulad yan si Haji nag-rest, maraming mga ibang mga nag-rest, di ba? So for us, yung reward is more of paano kayo maghahanap ulit ng motivation na bumawi after the loss that happened with Echo. Kasi syempre hindi naman talaga biro yun eh. For me, it's enough of a motivation and by the time na papasok na ulit tayo sa next season, siguro doon na lang kami ulit magsiset kasi that's going to the World Championship by then.
So yung goal, yung motivation niyo, pero nakikita ko yung mga vlogs, ang ganda ng bootcamp nila, yung office niyo also,
Siguro
paganda
yung
ng
Yakult
paganda.
na lang. Mas maraming Yakult ngayong season.
Hey, by the way, ang nakasalalay din dito, kapag top 2 is MSC, the only title that Blacklist hasn't gotten yet. What would they say about Blacklist and what's going to happen kapag nakuha nila yung slot na yon?
Siguro generally like for us, we're very happy with the whole run na meron kami for the past 2 years. Pero hindi naman nawawala yung part na syempre gutom pa rin kami to win more because yun yung mahirap sa esports eh. Parang you're only as good as your last performance. So alam mo yun, minsan pag natalo ka ng isang world championship, nakalimutan na lahat nung nagawa namin prior to that. So that's the reason why we need to continuously be motivated to make sure that we prove ourselves every season. So when it comes to MSC, obviously yun yung hindi pa namin talaga nakuha. And I will probably quote Edward na kaya niya gusto talaga maglaro ngayon season kasi yun daw yung wala pa siya.
Oh, speaking of Edward, okay, meron tayong Hall of Legends nomination right now. Nakikita ko nga, ang dami yung post to promote Edward. Putting you on the spot here, sino ang iboboto mo para sa Hall of Legends?
Actually, sinabi ko na rin to sa Blacklist page, pero sige, let me repeat this again here. For me, it's also Edward because syempre at this point, kung titingnan mo yung Blacklist, gusto mo na talagang sumali sa squad na to eh. Kasi with everything that we've achieved. Pero during the time kasi na nag-sign sa amin si Edward, wala pa talaga kami noon. Like, zero pa yung Blacklist. Kaya nga din, in a way, sobrang match yung term na Agent Zero. So, ako para sa akin, I will really vote for Edward because one, for the loyalty, and second, it's because he believed when nobody believed.
Oh, Edward, ang kanyang vote. Oy, nag-iingay yung mga crowd dito. Haji, my gosh, ang tagal. Wow! Dami mo pa rin fans. Sinong iboboto mo? Ikaw naman, for Hall of Legends.
Tingin ko para sa akin sa Edward talaga kasi kung pinagtitignan ko yung mga ibang team parang wala akong makita na tatapat kay Edward eh.
Ay, by the way nung nakita ni Edward, nung lumabas si Edward, ang laki ng smile niya nung nakita ka niya, pinraps ka niya. Let's talk about yung relationship niyo. Lagi pa kayo nagkikita pa din ngayon? Bumibisita ka ba ng bootcamp?
Minsan na lang po pag kailangan po sa mga deliverables, pupunta po ako sa bootcamp. Ganun.
Oh, may nagbago ba kay Edward? Simula nung nakatira ka with him and then now, anong nabago sa kanya?
Wala naman po, ganun pa rin kami. Close pa rin.
Very,
Opo.
very close. Anong pinagkakabalahan mo?
Nag-ML po. Nagra-rank game.
Kinakabahan daw siya kanina nung binigay sa kanya yung mic. And what else are you doing? Kasi nakikita ko minsan you're on the trip. Di ba nagpapagawa ka ng bahay?
Opo.
Ooh,
Tsaka same din
kamusta
po,
yan?
minsan chine-check ko rin po yun. Yun po yung pinagkakabalan ko talaga.
Lagi ba kayo
Nagpo-post
nagkikita?
po ako.
Kayo ni Uncle Eson? Uncle Eson, ikaw naman ang pinagkakabalahan mo ngayon.
Yung kapag nami-miss ko yung team, dinadalo ko sila. Sana miss nyo rin ako.
Ikaw din, di ba nagpapagawa ka ng bahay?
Apo,
The fruit of
dinadalaw-dalaw
being
namin.
from Blacklist.
Yes.
Kamusta na ngayon?
Ayun, malapit na. Sana matira na namin. Ayun.
Oh, they're very, very inspired. Sino naman iboboto mo para sa Hall of Legends?
I nominate Edward J. Dapadap. Ayan.
At bakit?
Sa sobrang tagal na namin nagsama, nakita ko talaga sa kanya yung grabe yung passion niya sa paglalaro, yung determination. Ayun. So, ayun, I nominate him.
You nominate him.
I love him.
Okay, Uncle Eson, kilala ka namin bilang, how do you say this, ang galing ng impersonation mo. Kailangan na natin bumalik sa ating laban. Ito-throw na natin sa ating casters. Dito, nandito yung camera. Okay, kunyari ako ikaw, go ahead.
Casters, pasok.
Oh man, Uncle Eson looking fresh. He's starting to look like Nephew Eson there. But of course, beside him, we also heard from the KDA machine, Haji. Good to see them back in the studio visiting here.
Yeah, and I really like how they answered the questions. Actually, they are really full support for their team today. And I have to say this, they look really fresh.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, well, when you're building a house, you have to look fresh.
Yeah.
A lot of players from the Blacklist camp is building their own houses. Ome Venus built their house
Right.
with Wise.
That's so
They
true.
vlogged about it. Haji has been building his house for I think a couple of months now.
Yeah. Coach
And I didn't
Bon
know
had-
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
Coach Bond.
Had his house built and is buying even more motorbikes.
I didn't know that Essen was building a house as well.
Yeah, me neither. So it's good to see we got to catch up to the former players of Blacklist International, and of course them talking about Edward and his influence and his legacy, not only to Blacklist but to our league. Now, Hall of Legends again. We talked about it at the beginning of the program. Edward up there in the eyes of a lot of people, but there's one name I'd wanna posit here that I've been seeing some people comment about as well. The sleeper pick for a lot of people. When Coach Panda was picked to be part of the Hall of Legends, well deserved so, a lot of people were thinking, when is Coach Ducky going to get his nomination? And with the nominations coming up this season, a lot of people are talking more and more also about Coach Ducky. Now, still the coach of BREN Esports and showing his world class in terms of drafting, his legacy still alive.
Yeah, actually, in terms of the Hall of Legends nominations, again, we really have to consider how they affected the community positively, and at the same time, the achievements individually, and how they are really a part of the MPL community. So, Coach Ducky, Edward, or anyone that you think is deserving to be part of the Hall of Legends, you could nominate. So that we can see your support to your favorite players, favorite coaches, anyone who is part of the community, of course.
There's a lot of gold medals there, by the way.
Yeah.
A lot of gold medals.
Yeah, and all the
Yeah.
names that we mentioned, gold medals,
Yeah,
excellence.
Panda gold medalist, Ducky coach gold medalist. I mean,
World
Edward
champion.
does have a medal from winning M3.
Yeah.
So a lot of W's.
Yeah, like I see people in the community also suggesting, and even I suggested it myself, like maybe in the grand finals, or maybe the grand finals leading into M5, or maybe even during M5 here in the Philippines, we just get like a showcase of all the awards of the
Yeah.
Philippines.
Put everything in a box.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not in a box, but like on the stage.
I mean a
or like
truck.
all around. Yeah.
There's so many achievements
So-
you've had for
All
past
the
3 years.
trophies.
My question in mind is there going to be a lot enough space?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's your
I'm
main
not
concern.
bragging, of course.
Is there a venue big enough in the
I
Philippines?
feel like if you
all the
build
trophies.
if you build a cabinet just reserved for MPL or Philippine trophies,
Yeah.
it's not gonna be enough.
It's not gonna be
It's not gonna be enough.
And even with just when you think about these two franchises alone, again, I brought that up in the intro. They bring the hype, the history, the influence, and the prestige. Arguably, two of the top teams to bring that because of the history that they've shown here in MPL
Yeah.
Philippines and BREN and Blacklist. But now, let's refocus into game number 2. As Blacklist have their backs against the wall because the Bees are looking to
Yeah.
end this right here, right now, and secure the top seed for the regular season.
You know what? It just feels like BREN Esports came into this game with a full understanding of how Blacklist has been drafting for the past 4 games, because the pattern was almost obvious for to Coach Ducky and to Coach BREN. When they picked up the Eve, it sounded like they were trying to bait out still the Estes pick from Blacklist, because their past few games when Estes was available and rumors were being contested, Estes was always in first place. So I feel like it was Blacklist put in a trap against BREN Esports, and they just didn't have enough room for for any answers. So game number 2 should be an adjusted draft for Blacklist International, and I feel like this is where teams have started pounding out the weakness of Blacklist, because they don't they don't stray away from tradition. Like
Yeah.
Blacklist International during a series, they don't adjust their draft at all. Like they stick with the fundamental drafting. We rarely see them like
Really
cause
change it,
chaos
yeah.
and change it up. The dynamics, it's there. Yes, it's gonna help you inside the game. But if you lose a draft because of it, it's gonna matter a lot.
And which makes the victory of BREN Esports in game number 1 all the more impressive. For the longest time, we've talked about Blacklist and said that you can outdraft and predict Blacklist International, but can you play better than Blacklist International? Game number 1, BREN said, hell yeah, we can.
Yeah.
And so that makes their game 1 victory all the more impressive. And game 2, I'm excited to see what they're going to do with the adjustments. With Eve gone, which was a problem we talked about, they don't want to give the R-Lot to Edward. They're eyeing a different first stage. They take away the joy, and at the same time,
I
Fanny not
like
available.
this.
we usually see the joy not being banned on the blue side because you actually prioritize that as the
Exactly.
first pick. So since Midnight is smiling beside us,
Yeah.
there's something for BREN Esports.
My brain's like computing like 15 different draft variations right now. But here's
Nice.
here's the here's the problem for both sides. Kaja, Valentina, Faramis, Fredrin, and and what's this? Farsa is open.
Yeah.
Those are key picks for both sides. Now, if you think about it, BREN Esports, they're opening up the draft. Even if they lose 2 power picks to Blacklist International, they still get 2 power picks of their own on first phase. So it's gonna give them 3 hero advantage over Blacklist International because those 5 heroes that I've mentioned, it's gonna be consumed on first phase. So BREN Esports, you have the choice here. You can go with Valentina, you can go Kaja, and you can go 1-1.
99%. High win rate actually for the 1-1.
Oh
and
my goodness.
since Midnight has mentioned a lot of heroes here during in this draft, you also have to take note that BREN Esports is the home of Hellkirk Place. Since Blacklist International focused on the assassin hero, so what if there's another surprise? It's not a surprise anymore. We've mentioned the Hellkirk,
Yeah.
but maybe a Hellkirk play again for BREN.
And that makes sense because BREN Esports love drafting the Hellkurt if they're up against either the Eve or the Farsa. If Blacklist International show that as one of their first 2 picks here, I wouldn't be surprised if it's an easy Hellkurt pickup for BREN.
Yeah, I think you have to go Farsa Brody here. Can you still go for Estes? Fredrin. Again, they don't stay away. They don't
Stray from
tradition. I don't understand the Lancelot ban. You did just open up 1-1 and you did not get Brody. Brody and Claude should be priority on 3rd pick for Blacklist International, but still, it does put BREN Esports into a place where they can get Valentina, Kaja, Grok. Those heroes are still open for BREN Esports, and they're not pressured to pick their own jungler right now. You can also argue that, you know, picking up an XP lane or XP hero for BREN Esports is sound at the moment for them because I feel like Yuzong, Flams, Benedetta, those 3 heroes are really good against both the Fredrin and Estes.
Yeah.
Although I wouldn't really consider Yuzong because we've seen him fail against Estes. But Paramis is going to be put on you. And that will be a sort of a counter against the Uber strategy of what Estes provides. And I like the Sterizla. It's a hero that matches up well with the Uber strategy because they will naturally just group up. And you are susceptible to the penalty zone.
And also at the same time, I don't know, conspiracy theory cap on for Renmar here. I feel like BREN Esports were thinking, hey, what if Blacklist do what we did and actually are going to put that Fredrin in the XP lane? So historically, which team loves to pick up a Terizla up against a Fredrin and does well with it? Onyx.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's pick up the Terizla in the XP lane. So maybe that's why BREN Esports picked it up here.
Okay, Blacklist, marksman pick right now. Main concern is the Hayabusa opener of BREN Esports. Hayabusa potential pick on 2nd phase. So I feel like you still play Brody here. Okay, they're hovering at the Lapu Lapu. Oh, they go for the carry. Interesting.
Okay, here is the thing. Have we seen Edward play Fredrin before on the XP lane?
We did.
Once.
We once did. So that may be the adjustment here for...
Oh, sorry. No. Only Wise played Fredrin for Blacklist.
So what if the adjustment for Blacklist International is we see Edward play the Fredrin and pick a different hero for Wise? Could be an option.
Yeah, could
if
be.
they really want to have that head-to-head with this Terizla, maybe go for another sustain aside from the Fredrin, which is on the XP lane. But we'll see that later on if there are changes for Blacklist International.
Yeah. I would call this carry pick tunnel vision pick. Because it's mainly just to sort of deal with the Terizla. It does not win the lane against 1-1 as well because it is a skill-based matchup. Like, a lot of micro mechanics will be put into play, but Super Marco will not have that because this 1-1 is not pressured to just go off. He's not put in a place where he needs to pop off because he knows that Kaltizi will be will be the main hero on the early parts of the game, especially with how the draft is shaping up to be, because he will be able to get a powerful pick on the jungler role because he is sort of protected because he already sees Estes, Fredrin, and carry. Like, a lot of the junglers are available for Kyle Teasy. Even, again, as I mentioned, the Hayabusa is open. A lot of the assassins are also open. Even the Ling I would consider in this game.
Even a Kai.
Even a Kai.
Yeah, if you just want to match up the Fredrin versus Akai scenario, if you want a little bit more kill power, you can also
There
go
you
for
go.
this. And still respecting the assassin pickup. So Blacklist International know that. They don't want to go up against Kyle TV on the assassin hero. Ling is still open though. The biggest question is, can this draft go in such a way that BREN Esports might actually end up picking the Ling? That is a possibility. You can tell what else you see here.
Actually, for Blacklist International, since this is a type of lineup we're in, we already know the roles of these heroes. They just need that hero that is really for the burst. If they're up against Faramis, could be a Kadita, but I doubt that it's an
Savior.
option for them. Maybe Savior,
Oh,
if
yeah.
they want it to go for the
Savior
late
Alice.
game. Lilia could be an option.
Oh yeah,
I like that.
definitely.
I like
Lilia
that,
is
yeah.
a good one
It's-
since they're up
it's-
against Faramis.
Yeah, I think somebody already ran it against Faramis and Terizla.
Yeah, that's a good
yeah,
option for them.
I think that sounds like something TNC would do.
Would do, yeah.
Yeah,
It's not
Escalera.
TNC, maybe, yeah, Escalera, yeah.
Huh, Blacklist, what do you
against-
pick
okay.
here?
Maybe they go Eve.
You go Yuzong.
Oh wait, no, it's banned, right? Yeah.
Okay, that
Lapu
Lapu.
Lapu.
So Blacklist International is really focusing on this Lapu-Lapu. Remember, game number 1, it was a priority pick. So
Yeah.
they have something with this Lapu-Lapu. And the only change that we will see still sustain, they have that marksman on the DPS. So for BREN Esports, they might want to go on the route of the sustain as well, since all of the assassin heroes had been banned for this game.
Yeah, you know what's crazy? Hanzo is open.
Oh.
Hanzo, I've tried pushing this towards a lot of people. Hanzo against Estes is something.
Hey,
How about Paquito?
Paquito even, yeah, with a burst. Is Mincetar Rome viable?
Well, in PH, you know.
Yeah, it's
In
tough.
PH, you know.
We only get to see it in the XP, but we see
Oh!
very blacklisted picks. Did
And
Bren go?
Kaja.
Yeah, it's a Kaja for Ogwin, of
Yeah,
course.
it's Kaja Room for sure.
Kaja Rome for sure. And then a Baksha. A Baksha for Kaltizi. Never
Yeah.
thought I'd see the day.
Interesting.
It's a sponge. It's a sponge pick for BREN Esports. Not because they're yellow, but it's a hero that can deal with the carry because he does naturally build up towards that blade armor, and he does have a lot of sustain, especially with the tortoise posons. Forgot how to mention that.
Tortoise.
Tortoise posons.
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 One of the
Posons.
most difficult ultimates to pronounce
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
MLBB.
I'll say Ultimate of Baksha later
Okay,
on.
you either
Play
go
by play.
you either go Kadita or Lilia here.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really
Unless
need that
they
burst.
play Vexana.
Ooh, Vexana. I won't be surprised if Blacklist will pull that off, but so it's gonna be Savior.
Savior, yeah.
We did pause it. I think our main candidates were either the Lilia or the Savior.
Yeah.
But because of
So-
the pool of Yue, 3 heroes only,
Yeah, so
Savior
far.
is a warranted pick for Blacklist International. It is a good tool though to snipe out the 1-1 before the Cult Altar pops off. But the main problem is the Cult Altar itself. Like, yes, you can kind of counter how the Cult Altar works, but against View, of course, you would expect that he would wait out for the passive first from Savior to pop out before he uses that Cult Altar.
And seeing the play of BREN Esports earlier, having those flickers to actually set up, it's a nice call. Or it would be nice to see View on that Faramis to use the flicker, Shadow Stampede,
Yeah.
surprise
Oh, yeah.
play, and then that ultimate from Terizla. Penalty zone.
Yeah. Okay. We talked about it here. The possibility that Chantel brought up is terrifying when you think about it. Terizla looks so scary right now. Even the shadows are just covering him. Well, in that scene earlier. BREN Esports drafted a lineup that is meant or has the possibility to end the game within 12 to 15 minutes.
Oh yeah,
It's one of those lineups, and it could be one of those games if Blacklist get caught out again.
Well, the main difference that I'm seeing here is that Kyle TZ is, again, the sponge of BREN Esports. I mentioned earlier that Super Marco is not required to pop off. I think that changes now. He is, however, required to at least dominate his lane, to just have this amazing tempo with the Baksha when they roam around the map minute 3, minute 4. And Blacklist International, they have to fend themselves off because there is enough damage on the side of BREN. And mind you, these damages are scaling, especially coming out from the Promise, the 1-1, and even the Baksha.
Yeah, and actually for Blacklist International, knowing that this is a type of lineup, that is forced. We mentioned that earlier, the Flicker Shadow Stampede, the survival play, and first blood will go to BREN Esports. Another kill possible for Blacklist, but no, there's no counter for them. We can see West already low on life. Level 4. Make it 2 casualties for BREN Esports at the early part of our game.
The Shadow Stampedes from Feud coming in big, and this is not the start you want to have if you're Blacklist International. The possibility of 12 to 15 minutes victory for BREN is looking more and more real.
Yeah, I want to mention that this carry 1-1 lane is skill-based, but Super Marco's been dominating out since level 1. I've kept my eye on that lane, and Super Marco was always positioned aggressively against the carry. And Blacklist, again, you don't have enough firepower in the early game to deal with the with the aggression that BREN has. This is the strength of this lineup, especially when they picked up the Baksha. Even though they don't have that sort of damage coming out from the assassins, Baksha is still a a decent damage dealer and an insane frontliner, because when he reaches level 4. I don't think there's anybody on the game that can deal with Baksha level 4, especially with the ultimate up.
Yeah,
Speaking of Baksha, Kaltizi is already there to try and secure this turtle objective, and in an instant, Blacklist International isn't able to contest that one.
Yeah, man. What kind Ogwin.
That was a bit deep, but we could see the aggression of BREN Esports at that moment. And it's as if they are aware that Blacklist International's lineup is really for the late game.
We were mentioning last game that BREN was just really confident with their commitments. And this is just really an example of why BREN was able to win game 1.
Si Idol pala to, and that's the headline for Few. Has now reached 2,000 plus assists.
So in English, you're the idol.
Yes.
You're the idol. But yeah, on the middle lane, oh my goodness, is now low on life. Cannot sustain that, and Kaltizi and BREN Esports will secure their 4th kill for this game.
BREN is just continuing on their momentum from game number 3 minutes in. Super Marco, expected timers already.
Bottom lane though. Bottom lane.
Down Owl.
Here comes the Crossroad Tang, and Super Marco will secure that kill and a lead for BREN Esports.
Mind you, they picked up this carry against the 1-1, knowing that this matchup is not going to be in favor on both sides. But Super Marco was like, hell nah, I'm going to win this lane.
But on the middle lane, there is going to be a play. Nope, for BREN Esports, it's just really doing an aggressive play, positioning on those places that Blacklist is going to go. And look at that. In an instant, we can see Super Mark on the bottom lane securing those plates against Owl. And Owl is secluded on the 2nd tier turret of their map. Look at that.
Yeah, that is bad news for any team where you have the marksman as such an integral component of it in this carry. Stuck behind a 2nd turret, just waiting, looking if he can actually even get farm. The bottom tower of Blacklist International is gonna fall, and that is a snowballed 1-1 in the hands of Super Marco.
Yeah, and you know what's unfortunate? Blacklist International cannot deal with this, because guess what? Where the turtle spawn? Bottom lane. So expect that more heroes will just continuously come towards this area, and I will not be able to participate in this fight because he is a carry, he needs more damage. And Ogwin again with the commitment of the Divine Judgment. Didn't even wait out for the turtle to go low.
Yeah, just when we thought that there's going to be a safe play for Blacklist International.
Nice!
The contribution, but again, BREN Esports will go in for that play. Super Marco kills Edward, making a double kill. We've said that this is a snowballed 1-1. Definitely it is, as Kaltizi will secure that killing spree.
Blacklist gets the turtle, but now they'll be forced to turtle as BREN Esports snowballed to hell. 9-0 counter-punish kills, even though they lost a major objective.
Look at the gold disparity, 2,300. And carries for to buy boots just to, move around the map. And Super Marco has already the corrosion sight and DHS. Nobody on the side of Blacklist is tanky anymore. The only remaining ingredient that they need is the heal reduction coming out from either the Halberd, the runs, or even the Dominance Ice, which is now completed in Ogwin.
Actually, for Blacklist International, they still have to wait maybe around 5 minutes for their lineup to have damage actually against the players of BREN Esports.
Yeah.
Even the Dawning Light could be used for
the
mission. But they see Edward, they see Agent Zero, but they will just go for the turret secure in the top lane.
By the way, Ogwin did not commit Flicker at all. So he was like, nah, that's Agent Zero. I'm not going to commit on that.
Here
Okay,
comes a
never mind.
flicker, but here comes Ogwen as well. Killing spree for BREN as Kyle TZ
Oh, he stole
will
it.
secure that buff against Wise. We can see the Bracer Strat being used by Wise, but the rest of BREN Esports is already on the middle lane. They want to go for those objectives. They want to go for that sustain. Nice
Flop!
zone for Flop. Tizzy has the Divine Judgment, is being gone again by Ogwen on this game. What a play.
I just want to point out the micro decision there. Ogwen got the Divine Judgment, but he thought that maybe Flap can actually get my target in the penalty zone. It didn't work.
Yeah.
But you saw him.
It was cute.
He
It was
didn't
cute.
pull. Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't pull and move. He was just like, okay, is it gonna? Oh wait, no. Okay, sure. I'll just pull him back.
It was like Ogwen seeing an opportunity to catch anybody on the side of Blacklist, but when he jumped in, he was like, oh, this is such a good penalty zone. And he did not expect Flap to jump at all. And when he saw the penalty zone, he was like, okay, did it latch? No. Okay, I'm just gonna go
I'm
back.
just gonna pull him back. This is just again a testament to what BREN Esports has done all throughout this season.
Oh, but this is not even strategy. This is just sheer chemistry.
Yep.
With
This-
BREN Esports.
In Filipino, this is just BREN lang malakas.
Yeah, and pure dominance indeed for this game. Now, Blacklist International mentioned that they could, we could see their damage and even sustain 5-minute game time. But for BREN Esports, with the positioning that they're dealing against Blacklist International, it might be difficult for them. Even a clearing of minion wave, having the Saber to be on stack, maybe on the latter part of the game. But look at that, all the objectives.
Well, level 8, so level 8. Level 8 against level 10, so what can you do?
Struggling right now. Still is Blacklist. Still no kills. BREN from positions 1 to 5. I have to say, everyone's playing to near perfection.
Yeah, 8.7k gold lead on the side of BREN Esports. And your concern right now, it's not even, if you have to list out the problems of Blacklist International, damage is not even #1 from Owl. It's also the sustain, both from Wise and Oh My Venus. Even if you have the heal, there is just enough sheer damage output over the side of BREN. Look at this. Just
Here comes the Divine
Wise!
Judgment, unstoppable for Super Mario. What a nice shadow stampede as the rest of BREN Esports was on the players of Blacklist International. Here comes the retaliation, but no, there comes the Cult Altar just in time to save the players and to resist that initiation against Blacklist International.
Okay, Flap was like, no, I don't have penalty zone, bro. I don't have penalty zone at that moment, but it was an awesome play come out from the captain, or the El Capitan of BREN Esports. He's trying to go for it again, but the range isn't there, and they have to back off. Lord is up for the taking here for BREN Esports. I don't think Blacklist has the capability of contesting this.
Few. It's still too early to call who'll be the MVP of the game, but I'm already thinking it's going to be Few. Three of the biggest plays to determine the outcome of this game have been by that man. That early game back-to-back pulls to get those kills in the mid, and then that big one there to make sure that BREN wouldn't fall and even give BREN a chance to get a big win, although they couldn't find it. El Capitan still definitely has it. Undeniable.
Only a few could really dictate. Only a few.
Only a few.
Only
I like
a
it.
few.
I like
his
it.
play.
That is poetry in motion,
And
Chantel.
you know what? Only a few teams have have managed to deal such a blow against Blacklist International, and BREN might be the first team to go deathless against this team.
Oh yeah, actually, we could see a clean kill from BREN Esports as the Lord will march in on the bottom lane. We can see the immortality already for Wise. Super Marco will secure the turret push.
Oh,
there goes the Divine
Ogwen.
Judgment. Edward is down. Agent here is down. Monster kill already for Super Marco because it was down to players of Blacklist International. This is it as BREN Esports will go for the tower lock and they will secure the first seed for playoffs.
Classic BREN.
They ran out of minions though.
Classic BREN.
Not just yet. And there we go. Closer and closer to fulfilling an old promise. To say that BREN lang malakas is undeniable. They've set it up. The seeds have been planted for the next championship garden. They are the undeniable top seed in MPL Philippines Season 11.
BREN Esports has been playing on a different level definitely after this performance against the Blacklist International. I mean, clean kills, rotation, the draft, it's everything for BREN Esports.
It's everything and,
And
BREN.
BREN. I got that.
Thank you.
Chef's kiss.
Beautiful.
I would say for the entirety of my career as an analyst, I don't believe in perfect game, but that would look like a perfect game for BREN Esports. I don't believe in perfect games, but the way they played and handled Blacklist International, that was just a master class from BREN Esports.
The timing, everything. Again, for BREN Esports, it's as if they really reviewed how Blacklist International played with those tricks, of course. Those win streak. This is the type of formation that they will do to give space for Owl. This is the rotation that we'll do to negate that play from Blacklist International. BREN Esports, we've talked about the heroes that they bring in for the draft, and a lot of variation for the team, and I'm really looking forward for that playoffs game. Although they still have a game for this week 8.
Yeah, oh man, I think it also is a testament as to why everyone in the talent pool thought that this is going to be, like, the predictions came up earlier, we didn't get to point it out, but everyone said that this was going to be a BREN win, because you just get those feelings about a team. Alongside feelings, of course, with the desk here that's just full of analysts, backed up by the stats, the history, the knowledge of these two teams, there was something in the air that whispered, hey, I think it's going to be a BREN win. And I didn't expect it, though, to be this dominant.
Hell no. Nobody would expect it.
Nobody expected BREN to come in this and just say, we're going to win this like this. You can predict that they will win it, but not like that. One of the most impressive performances as a team this season.
Yep. Actually, for Blacklist International, when we say that they have the Estes on their draft, it means that this is a different kind of beast for Blacklist International.
Twice!
But we haven't seen that
Twice!
on those two games. We haven't seen the walking ambulance for OMV. So it's surprising for BREN Esports, and it is really indeed a statement.
Yeah. And again, I believe this is the first team to go deathless against the Uber strategy. So it is sort of an achievement of its own. But this is a classic BREN, and I love the recalls on the last moments of the game. It was classic BREN. You know, when they win games, they recall in front of the base. Yeah. Although they did lose some minions there, but they are the victors at the end because Blacklist had nothing against the BREN lineup.
If you all recall or were here with us in MPL Philippines in Season 6, there was a certain magic in the air about BREN then. Of course, we know after that Season 6 victory, they'd go on to become the M2 World Champions. The roster that had a rookie flap, that had Carl Teasy finally solidifying himself as one of the guys in the league. Rebo as the first GOAT of our league. Lusty being crazy in his gameplay. I miss Lusty, man. Like, how did he play that role? And of course, Few. And the growth, the journey that this team has had to go on, now solidifying themselves as the undisputed top seed in the league this season. It's been an up and a very up, and then a very down, and then a plateau, and then an up again journey for them.
3 seasons, mind you.
3 seasons. They are the embodiment of trust the process.
Yeah, they've earned this.
They earned this.
They worked hard for this, actually. We saw the rebuilding. We saw a different type of player. They let go of some of the players that has a lot of potential. This is the perfect formula for BREN Esports. As to why the community is really happy. Those fans that saw their failures or the not so good moments of them. But we could see that BREN Esports is a strong team this season, even the off-season prior MPL season 11.
And this isn't, I'm glad that you mentioned that. It isn't just this season. Before the season started, a lot of us were already talking about BREN and saying, watch out for BREN.
It was a crazy journey for the Hive, but they are here. They are the current top seed of the league, and there's more of this to come in the following weeks.
Yeah, we still have 2 more days of action in Week 8. That was only the first series of the day. We still have one coming up later on, but I am excited to hear about what BREN thought about that series, and we're going to hear that now. Let's go on over the stage with the lovely Mara Aquino alongside the victors and the top seed of MPL Philippines regular season 11. It's BREN Esports.
Congratulations, Hive! Your BREN Esports with a sweep! Congratulations! Sobrang bilis niyong tinapos yung laban. First game, it's about 12 minutes. Second game, hindi pa umabot ng 11. It's about 10 minutes, 21 seconds. How did you guys do that? Kasi yung Blacklist, they're getting better and better. Pero parang andali lang para sa inyo itong series na to. How?
Ano po, siguro dahil pinaghandaan po talaga namin sila sa training namin. Parang, sobrang commit yung pagte-training namin. Tas, nadala lang siguro namin yung momentum namin nung game 1. Kaya nung game 2, parang on point lahat ng mga pinagagawa namin. Pero at the same time, parang nag-overthink pa rin kami.
Nag-overthink?
Kasi yung Blacklist po, malakas po sila eh.
Speaking of, eto gusto kong tanungin si Cal TZ. Speaking about overthinking, I'm gonna reveal something. Every time that fini-face nyo ang Blacklist International, parang kang no-overwhelm after in between the games, something happens to you backstage. Can you share with us?
Every time po na kalaban po namin yung Blacklist, parang parang hinihika po kasi ako. Parang pagkalaban po sila yung Blacklist, parang kinakabahan po kasi ako. Kaya parang ganun nga po, every after po ng game, parang hirap po ako huminga.
Pero what is it about Blacklist? Kasi nag-start to last season pa, hindi to nangyayari ata with other teams. Pero bakit Blacklist? What is it about them na kinakabahan ka, no-overwhelm ka? Why?
Maybe siguro po sa crowd.
Sa crowd. And good job kasi regardless what happens, people don't know what goes through the minds of the players. Minsan talaga may anxiety, but ang galing mo pa din and you're able to overcome that, especially kapag may pressure sa crowd. So good job on that. Now, congratulations sa BREN dahil secured na ang top seed. Yes! Pwede ko bang tanungin, Coach Ducky? Usually our Coach BREN, ano yung mga incentives ngayon na secure yung top seed? What's happening? Tsaka gusto ko malaman anong lulutuin ni Coach Ducky mamaya.
Magluluto ako ng beef Wellington.
Beef Wellington. Coach BREN, so now, top seed, what's gonna happen? Ano bang may pinramis ka ba sa team na kapag na-secure to, eto yung mangyayari?
Wala, mag-outing kasi kami.
Uy, mag-outing. Kailan yon? Gano'ng katagal saan?
Sa Laguna lang. 2 days sa Sunday. Yun lang
Nice.
yung reward nila sa mga pinapanalo namin.
And for sure, they're looking forward to that. Once again, top seed, BREN Esports. Thank you so much. You may now take your bow. Go ahead. Take your walk of victory. Top seed na ang BREN. Congratulations. And for sure, ang ating mga manlalaro looking forward to that incentive. Pupunta sila sa Laguna to celebrate their great performance this season at naging fruitful nga. Dahil now, they're in the upper bracket. Balikan na natin ang ating casters para sa analysis. Pasok!
There you have it. Top seed, undeniable, thrashing the defending MPL Philippines champions. And again, it was a journey to get to this point. They trusted the process, and here they are, a step closer to fulfilling the age-old promise, but the job isn't done. And this broadcast isn't finished yet because we're going to have to talk about what happened in that game number 2, because that was, again, just insane.
Yeah, actually, we were discussing during the interview that we are all surprised with the outcome of game number 2. And this is, again, a game wherein BREN Esports is just really prepared with the heroes that Blacklist International is going to pick for that game. Now, Blacklist International, it's something, an eye-opener for them that they could change some of their strategy to be able to compete better on other games that they still have this week 8.
Yeah, because we saw the strategy that they've been known for on a very good day when a team isn't ready, Blacklist will dominate. Yeah. But against a team that is ready and expecting what to do and what Blacklist will do, like BREN did here, they will dominate. And let's see what will happen here for Blacklist International moving forward, as they are still potentially playoffs bound. The possibility is still there, and even upper bracket potentially still there. We'll see. But again, we do have to talk about the geniusness of that game number 2. It wasn't just in game. Behind the scenes, we're talking about it in the draft. Great drafting from one team, a bit of a struggle for the other, and a great performance by one, a struggle for another. Midnight, can you expound even more?
Well, the level of geniusness on the side of BREN Esports definitely came into play here in game number 2, as they were able to overcome the Ube strategy of Blacklist International. And again, it's still the same key point that we've discussed on game number 1, their willingness to commit on the targets they have, and also add to the fact that every single member on the side of BREN Esports had the right target, especially with Ogwin, with the Divine Judgment. We saw that earlier on with the failed flicker play onto Oh My Venus. Getting the Estes skill is really, really crucial for BREN Esports. And later on, during the highlights, we might be able to see the Divine Judgment play that he did on Edward, because Edward was trying to defend the base of Blacklist International up against the Lord, and Ogwin was like, okay, you're the only guy in the front line, and there was no problem for BREN Esports to fight against the remaining 4 heroes, so he flickered in and went for the Divine Judgment onto the Lapu-Lapu. And these target selections are really, really important for BREN Esports, because they have so many backups. There is that Cult Altar that we mentioned on the Faramis, and also the possibility of the flicker penalty zone play coming out from Flapteasy. So again, the commitment of BREN Esports to fight against Blacklist International, it's sort of an idea wherein you just have to do it, because you just have so many support system and support mechanisms with your composition, and that is why they were able to play super aggressive against Blacklist International. You're seeing a lot of zeros on the side of Blacklist because they were not able to fight at all against BREN Esports, because number 1, they don't have the damage early game, especially against the 2 lives that BREN Esports have, and the insane front line of BREN Esports, which was supplied by both Flapteasy and Kyle Teasy on the Baksha and Terizla respectively. And look at the gold amassed on the side of BREN Esports, especially on Super Marco. 1,090 GPM, even breaking the record of Kyle Teasy with 1,072 GPM. Currently holds the highest GPM record of MPL-PH Season 11. A 1-1 performance of this regular season that is memorable for sure up until the next few weeks, because he did just shut down Owl on that gold lane, and the carry was not able to play his game for Blacklist International. And it is a skill-based matchup, but Super Marco knows the limits of the hero, even using the Inspire to just make sure that he can move around the carry and ensure that the stacks will be there. Usually we see Inspires popped off when the Crossbow of Thanks has been committed, but Super Marco used it to reposition himself, especially with no purifies on the side of the carry. He cannot remove those stacks, and the carry was not able to compete against the 1-1 after the first initial kill, and BREN Esports positioned themselves towards that area of the map because they know